Good evening, everyone. This is Shauna here again with Visually Speaking Podcast. And I have tonight with us
Devon
and
Maddie J.
And just to give you a little warning, we're going to get to some deep stuff tonight. So it's going to be a very, very serious topics we're going to be talking about. So once we start talking, if you're not comfortable with it, I would say just walk away. It's okay. So tonight's topic is going to be money and power rooted in evil. And basically it's a discussion about people in the industry who have money, who have done some pretty evil stuff and feel like that because they have money that they're okay from being, what I will use, I guess, talked about, or they are above the law and because of the fact they have money, so they're untouchable. They're definitely not untouchable. So tonight we're going to start with, of course, one of the controversial things that's been talked about the most right now is P. Diddy. Yeah. So let you start first.
Well, shoot. Diddy right now, I feel like he's going through it. Even though he doesn't want to show it, he's going through a lot, and reasonably so. I would say he deserves it. Because for years, there's been like rumors about him. Like slowly starting to come out. Starting with the whole Cassie thing. He said he never did anything to her. Now we got video evidence that he has been doing stuff. So there's no telling what he's been doing behind closed doors.
Yeah, that's just to the iceberg from what we've been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it definitely goes a lot deeper than that. Yeah, definitely.
Well, it actually kind of started with the whole Meek Mill thing.
Jesus. We're not going to talk about exactly how it started with the Meek Mill thing, unless you want to bring that up. We don't have to.
No, we ain't got to go there.
Okay, we don't have to go there. No. Y'all have to research that on your own, because we're not going to talk about that. So, Maddie, what do you think about the whole P. Diddy situation?
I think every evil person has a day, and his day is just arrived. That's all. He's been guilty. I think he's an evil man beyond. I mean, just him being able to hit a woman like that alone, or hit a woman, period, it already puts you like it puts you below the belt. But I mean, all the other allegations, I hate to say it, but they're not super unbelievable because of the things that he's like promoted, like the rappers and what they talk about. They're super close. And the one thing I noticed about P. Diddy too, even when he was married, he is always around men. And I mean, like, it's not like oh, this is my brother. It's like he's just always just, around men. And that's something that I've always noticed and picked up. But, everybody kind of, when they see things, they take it differently. Some people kind of blow it off like, oh, he's just being cool. He's just brotherly love, signing contracts, blah, blah, blah. But I do pay attention to people's personalities. I pay attention to my own personality. And sometimes I question, why do I do certain things, or why I have certain habits? Why might I smile at one person and not smile when I'm seeing another person? I ask these things too. So of course, like when I see other people and I see things that stand out to me, I question those things, even if they might not mean anything. It's just something that I do. I'm a thinker. So yeah, with P. Diddy, I can't say that I'm super surprised. I don't think I'd be shocked at any rapper, or I don't think I'd be shocked at any rapper in the industry finding out that they do something that's just like absurd to the public, because it's just like they promote violence. They promote that, they talk about women like they're nothing. And unfortunately, a lot of women still sing the songs and like rap the songs, but even when they talk about women like dogs, like Gucci Mane got a song talking about treat her like a dog, eat like a dog, all this stuff. And it's not just a song, people actually live this lifestyle. People who've grown up in 2-parent homes and they were spoiled growing up or taken well care of growing up, got good teachings. They listen to this music over and over, and then they just start living that lifestyle. Like that's the way, and it makes you look cool. And really, it's just not respectful. It's disgusting. So, as far as I'm concerned about P. Diddy, it's not like it's not like he even really presented himself as somebody that's worth being looked up to. Not in my eyes. Because just because you have, like you said, it's like we're talking about money and power rooted in evil. And it's not like just because you have money that equals the good. Like having money doesn't even equal success. There are a lot of people with money that kill themselves. But yeah.
Well, I will say that a lot of people in power specifically, we're gonna go back to Diddy, he feels like that because the fact that, like I'm saying in the introduction, that he thinks that because he have money that he is beyond being touched. He's untouchable.
Obviously
and not even him. It's a lot of people in the industry that feel like they're untouchable because they have money.
Mm-hmm.
They getting touched today.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They could think they untouchable all they want to, but he being touched. Like I said, every evil person has their day. Like there's not one evil person that's been evil all their life and had a great ending. Like they had it always ends at some point. Even if it's after death, it ends. And they lose.
They say what's done in the dark comes in the light. So the light is starting to shine.
Yeah.
And then, him denying the whole Cassidy thing, and then here we see the video surfacing of him dragging her out the elevator and beating her up in the hotel lobby, and then he comes up with his video how he's so apologetic of what he did to her, but he literally lied and said you didn't do anything.
Right.
And now that it comes out, now you're sorry, you're apologetic, and that's the whole front because you're trying to make yourself. Now you're trying to play the victim.
Mm-hmm. And just doing damage control.
Yeah. Makes things a lot worse for yourself.
He gonna do a whole lot of apologizing in the near future.
A whole lot of apologizing. And it's at this point it's probably not gonna help. It's definitely not gonna help his plight.
Mm-mm.
Because he's been doing this for so long. Usher is 40 in his 40s. And Usher started when he was like 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it goes back probably further than that. But, because he has money, he feels like that he can do whatever. Was grooming the young people, the young artists that he was bringing out, bringing up and introducing to us, but grooming them into basically to do what he wanted them to do.
Right.
And I will say, I know we were talking earlier that you were saying that people were afraid too. It's not that they were afraid to, or they felt like that they were going to be judged for saying that. They were scared. Mm-hmm. Literally scared. When someone grooms you, your whole mindset has changed. Or you think that what you're, like you were saying earlier, what you were going through is okay. Or the person who was doing the grooming has threatened them so much. They're scared to say anything because maybe their life was threatened. You don't know. We don't know. We weren't there.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like, think about like when your parents raise you and they put a fear in you, but it's not the fear of like, it's not like a fear of you just can't do anything, but it's more so of like a respect fear. So like when it comes to your parents, I'm talking about. So it's kind of like they have expectations of me. So even if I'm not in front of my parents, there are just things that I'm just not going to do because I know that if they find out, it's over for me. So even if they're in a whole nother state right now, like let's say they travel, and I'm still in North Carolina going to school, I know while I'm at school, I better not do this. You don't even think of, okay, like if your parents with you, it's like you don't even think of telling on your parents to a person that's there, or saying like, hey, my parents gonna whip me if they find out that I did this. It's like you're just not going to do it, because you're like, your parents kind of put that fear of punishment or whatever in you, or taking away your iPad if that's how they discipline you, or exercising. Like some parents, they discipline with making you run and stuff like that, which I feel like that's pretty healthy and stuff, but yeah. So basically, I'm saying all that to say that it's kind of equivalent to the whole grooming situation, except, with your parents, they're not grooming you. They're just teaching you and bringing you up. But as far as that fear that you're talking about, where, okay, even if they're far away from them, I'm still afraid that, I can't run to them, because once that person that's grooming me finds out, then they'll still be able to do something to me. Like, like they still have like some type of like hover over me even when they're not around. Yeah.
This is my opinion. I don't see where, in most parents that actually do parenting with their children, I don't see how that type of fear is on the same level as the type of fear that people who do grooming and who put fear in children to not say anything, because
you're saying like not saying anything.
So
no, I wasn't like really talking about that.
Yeah, so this fear over here is totally different from the fear that your parents instill in you, for you better not act up when you go somewhere, to the fear of you better not tell nobody that I touched you.
Yeah, that's why I said that's why I was saying the thing of with parents is more of a respect. It's not really, but I'm just saying the whole thing of, if they're not around, you still have that like okay, in the back of your mind, if I do this, then I'm gonna have to see them. So, and there's no, like, it's not like you can go to somebody. I mean, even in like a thing of of people just getting abused and stuff, people who get abused at home and stuff, like once they come to school, it's just, which, I mean, that's basically what's happening. The girls were getting abused. Well, they're being abused sexually, and they're probably being beat on, because I know in the documentary, I know they were saying that he did hit them. So it's like, okay, if I tell somebody, I'm still going to have to go back home to them, and he's just going to get me when I get home. So, but I wasn't saying like, okay, it's a sexual thing, and then like both of them are like a sexual I wasn't saying that. I was just saying more like the whole aspect of not bringing something up, or not acting a certain way in public on account of what you may have to face when you go home, good or bad. Constructive or unconstructive.
Okay. I was gonna say whatever helps you sleep at night, but we're not doing that tonight. That's the way we on tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not a pedophile or a groomer, so we agree. We definitely agree.
So we're gonna come back to Diddy. I also want to talk about Nickelodeon and all the issues that have come abreast with Dan. Was it Dan Schneider?
Yeah, Dan Schneider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Discuss that a little bit.
I say Dan. I would say he's pretty similar to Diddy, like using his notoriety to kind of get what he wanted from, I guess, the kids and the actors and whatnot. And it went under wraps for so long because like that fear you talked about, like the people, either the kids or the people around him feared what would happen if the information got out.
Yeah. Like, okay, so if, for instance, like for one of the shows, so if I said something about what Dan did, he can cut, the show can go into syndication and there's no more filming of the show that I'm on, then I'm gonna lose money because now I'm not making money because the show is over.
Right.
Yeah. So, gosh, that's sad though.
So it was like, if you want this to continue, you better keep it quiet.
Yeah. Don't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know that I'm how you get your money. So if you say something, I can stop the show, and there's nothing else with that. Yeah, that's horrible. You think about that.
And I can't. Oh, sorry. We're still talking about P Diddy though, right?
No, we're gonna come back.
Okay.
I'm now with Nickelodeon.
Okay.
Schneider.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you your thought?
Okay.
Process?
So I just think when and I'm not trying to be insulting. Actually, I don't really care and stuff, but I think he's just disgusting. And because I was about to go in on him, but he's a disgusting looking man, and he is a disgusting man. Like it's just like anybody that would touch a child, man or a woman, or put them in an uncomfortable position. You don't have boundaries. Like the whole boundary thing blows me. Because even I have my own personal situation as a child with like adults crossing boundaries and not understanding that, okay, I'm not even if you are related, my relatives and mom, like my family, we still have boundaries with each other. But when you're family, it's a little bit different. Like with your dad, you might sit on his lap until you're like maybe 7 or 8. But then even with my dad, once I hit a certain age, it's like, okay, no more, I love you, but, still, there's just certain things you don't do anymore as you're becoming grown and stuff. So like even like picking somebody up, like, cause you big now. But it's like for a grown man to kind of like, you don't have any discernment or like consciousness of being up against a child that does not belong to you, like even down to like a hug, like it should be side hugs, you know what I'm saying, if you're going to give a hug, but to even feel so comfortable to just like hold on to somebody's kid that's not yours and just have them there in your bosom, like that's inappropriate. And I think there's something wrong. And if you do that, you need to go, if you do that and you're not arrested yet, you're not in jail yet, you really need to go take a look at yourself and like get some help. So as far as his name is Turner.
Jerry Trainer.
Jerry Trainer. Okay, Jerry Trainer. So as far as what I've heard, he was on set and he did things like when he would see the guy Dan coming for the girls or whatever, he would basically jump into his arms or kind of get in the way, so he would stay away from the girls. My thing is, if that is all he did, I am not like, I'm not impressed by him doing that. I'm not like, oh my gosh, he was trying to protect the girls. I don't think that's really owed any like reward or compliment, because you should have did more. At the end of the day, because I don't know everything he did on set, I wasn't there. So if he did do more, then then of course my answer would be different. But as far as what I've heard and what we know that he did do, it wasn't enough. Like people say, oh, you don't want to risk your job and all this other stuff. Well, at what point do you say, okay, this is worth me losing my job? Like if it's at the stake of kids being molested, boundaries being crossed, a man getting away with things that he shouldn't be doing, a pedophile, literally you're right there next to him. It's like in that situation, I would have left and then had the police do an investigation. Is there like a possibility of other things happening to me? Yes, there is, but that's definitely worth the cause. Like it's definitely worth the cause to lose your job to stop something like that from happening. Now, if it was something different, like let's say, and I mean, I'm not saying that it's good for somebody to cheat on their significant other, but if he's cheating on his significant other with somebody else, and that's just hypothetical, if he was just cheating on his wife with another woman, consenting woman and stuff, then that would be a thing of, okay, I would approach Dan about it, but after I approach Dan about it, it's not really, what I'm saying? It's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not right. But when it comes to children, being touched, that they're still learning, they're still growing, you know what I'm saying? They have a future. That is disgusting. That is nasty. There's absolutely really nothing no, to a certain extent you protected them because you didn't speak up. If you didn't speak up. Now, if you did, I apologize. But if you didn't speak up and all you did was just jump into his arms and get in the way while you were on set, just enough to keep yourself looking clean, you know what I'm saying? That's no.
Well, I'm going to have to jump in because I'm just going to say, this is my opinion. I give kudos to him because maybe that was the only thing that he could think of, to kind of deflect the situation. So that way, Dan wouldn't, do any other harm while he was there in his presence, to the kids, to the girls. I say something is better than nothing. At least he did something to try to protect them instead of just sitting back and say, well, I'm just going to turn my head. I'm not going to look at what's going on. He did at least attempt to do something. Even in your opinion, you feel like that he should have done more. Maybe that's all at the time he knew to do. So you also have to look at it from that, perspective as well.
There are just some things where it's like, I'm not going to expect the bare minimum just because it could have been this way. No, there are just some things where the bare minimum is just not enough. And that's a scenario to me, like you said, in your opinion, in my opinion, the bare minimum is not enough. It's kind of like I hear this saying all the time when you're dating someone and they don't open the door for you. It's like, well, if that's what I'm used to and that's what I want in a man, then I don't have to give a man a chance that doesn't open the door for me. Like, I could literally cut him off because I don't want a man that doesn't open the door for me, and I won't be wrong for that. So it's like, for me, that right there is the bare minimum. And that's just in my opinion. That's from just experiences I've had, that's it. But if you think he deserves a kudos for what he did, then you give him kudos.
I just feel like those two situations are different because, truly people cheat. People, women cheat on their wives, cheat on their husbands cheat on their wives, then they cheat on each other, and they're okay with the fact they're cheating on each other. And, if that happens to spill over into their work, that's whatever that for that resolve.
Well, a crime is not being committed in that formality too.
Crime might be committed.
No, but I'm saying that the act of cheating is not actually a crime. It is immoral.
In some states, yes, it is a crime.
Oh, what state is it a crime?
I don't know what state it is, but yes, in some states it's a crime.
So you go to jail for cheating?
In some states you can do that.
I've never heard that.
You might want to do a little bit of research.
Yeah. Can you tell me a state?
I will find. There's
right.
a lot of things in North Carolina that we do on a regular basis we're talking about cheating though. So because that was the example. Cheating not North Carolina, but there are some states that if you go into the laws, cheating is considered a crime.
I know in the military. I know in the military you could get into trouble for cheating if you're married. Yeah. Some type of trouble.
That's
not jail though.
That's still on a totally different level from pedophiles. So go ahead, Devon.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I'm going to go off on the ledge a little bit. Go ahead.
I guess with the Jerry Trainer thing, it's one thing to speak from hindsight, after the whole thing's been done. Maybe could have did more, but ain't no telling what his thought process was in the moment.
It's a fight or flight.
Yeah, fight or flight. And then also we're in a different time from that point. Now a lot of people are getting in trouble, the whole Diddy thing. And more people like him, Vince McMahon, they get in trouble for things they did about 10, 15 years ago. But then they were doing it. People knew they were doing it, but no one was doing anything about it. Mm-hmm. So ain't no telling what Jerry's thought process was in that time. Maybe other people knew what Dan was doing and not doing anything about it. So he's like, I gotta do something. Mm-hmm. Maybe the best he could do was jump in the way when he's trying to hug the kids or get his attention when he's trying to talk to the kids. Because it was even instances where he was on set, but he wasn't in the scene, but he would still stay close to Dan, so he wouldn't get too close to Miranda and them. So I guess my opinion on that is maybe it wasn't enough now, but it's probably the most he could do then.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like
or the most he was willing to do.
I mean, you could say, I guess depending on where his morals were, he was doing the best to where he could protect them in his way while keeping all their jobs intact. Because even though, okay, speaking from our perspective, okay, you lose a job at Nickelodeon, big deal. You can go back to the 9 to 5, but that's all they know is being on TV. They don't want to do anything different. Say they lose their job from Nickelodeon, they probably can't even go to Disney after that.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about going back to another job. I was just thinking that it's wrong, period. I'm not thinking of, okay, will I have to go back to a job? That's why I said there are some things where you have to be willing to take that L for the right thing. You know what I'm saying? For something to happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who literally lose their lives for righteousness. And I know when I say righteousness, y'all are thinking like I'm just biblically speaking, but I'm not. I'm really just saying, like, for the right thing to happen, there are people that have lost their lives. Because I'm not even going to go into that movie because that's a whole nother thing. But there's basically a guy he was either in the Navy or the Army. No, he was in the Marine Corps, and he was a prisoner of war. And they were going to let him go free in Asia if he said something negative about America. He was getting beat on, he was getting abused. They practically beat him so bad that he could have died. But after all that beating, and they were about to set him free if he said something negative about America, he said he won't. And there were other Americans that they had set free because they went and said something negative about America. Like, they basically did what they told them to do, but he said no. And you know what that cost him? He not only got sent back to prison, but they made, I don't know how many men, it might have been like 100 men in prison. They made all 100 of his peers, of his battle buddies, punch him in the face as hard as they can. And he took that. So, like, I'm gonna say what I said again, there are some things that are worth losing that job for, and you might have to figure it out. But I mean, you got there in the first place. Even if it was because, your parents put you on and stuff, and that's how you grew up. Learn a new way, learn a better way. Like, this is America. Like, there are a lot of opportunities, and back then there were a lot of opportunities. Just like today, there are opportunities out there. It might not be something that you want to do, but it's something that'll get you by. So, I know I keep looking down. I need to look at the camera.
Okay, I don't want to respond well. The question I want to respond to that. So I'm gonna go to a different subject. I'm also bring up the issue with R. Kelly as well.
R. Kelly. I guess he's a perfect example of, I guess, the darkness coming to light and actually seeing the consequences of his actions that he's been trying to hide for so long. That's all I gotta say about that for right now. Okay. But I feel like he's a good example. And I would say it's kind of strange because even though you got some people that's like, okay, he did all this, I can't deal with him no more. But you still have some people that find themselves separating the person from the artist. Like, as far as like still listening to his music.
Yeah.
I for one, I don't judge anybody who does. I just don't listen to his music anymore. I mean, I grew up in a different time, so of course I don't. But I could see both sides of that. Being able to separate the artist from the art and like, okay, he did this, I can't do anything he does.
So, like with that as well, because the fact that R. Kelly didn't just, make his own. He was writer for other artists.
Mhm.
So will you, and I'm not judging, now would you stop listening to the other artists' music because of the fact that R. Kelly was the writer to their songs?
That's an interesting question. I mean, that's why I say I see both sides. Because while he did write for those artists, maybe those artists aren't the same type of person he is. Maybe some knew what he was doing. Maybe some were on his type of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I could say like some probably weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't judge them for his sins.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. I can take that. So what do you, your perspective of R. Kelly?
Okay.
And what he had, what the whole issue with R. Kelly, what he had going on, basically.
Okay, so with R. Kelly, I'm gonna start off with, just like Dan, he is a disgusting man. He's nasty, and yeah, he deserves whatever he get. Did he get reconciled, or is he still in prison right now?
He's still locked up.
He's still locked up. Okay, so I don't know if anybody done got him yet, but
he's actually in Butner. No, surprisingly, he's in Butner right now.
He's in Butner right now. My mom used to.
I understand. I think he's in Butner.
My mom just stopped working there about a year ago, but okay. So, but anyways, as far as his situation, I'm gonna just hit on two things really quick. So, of course, what he did was inappropriate. I agree with you. I understand the whole concept of his parents, but the question is about not P. Diddy. The question is about R. Kelly. It's not about what do you think of the parents. So, of course, the parents are wrong for what they did, but I'm not going to bring up the parents when we talk about R. Kelly because I agree. I agree that the parents are wrong, but when it comes to R. Kelly and we're just asking about R. Kelly, I'm not going to bring up his parents because it kind of like it feels like, it doesn't mean that that's what the people who bring it up are doing, but it feels like they're like, well, let's just give him a little grace because, if it wasn't for the parents bringing him, they wouldn't have. No, he was a pedophile, period. He was a rapist, a pedophile, a woman beater, all that stuff. And I'll be honest, before I found out or learned some of the things he did, I used to rock to his music too. Like if you're talking about from a musical aspect, yes, he has like a lot of music that's not good for people to listen to has a bump to it or has something to make you want to groove. That's the power of music. But like once I found out that happened, I refused to sit there and enjoy it, to soak in it anymore. Like if I hear it like out and about, like let's say I'm at like the skating rink and they play it, I stop skating. And that's my personal what I do. I'm not going to judge anybody else who continues to skate, but me, that's how I handle it because it's almost like an endorsement. I don't add his music to my stories or anything like that. I don't, if I did at one point before I found out use his music as like a background on a story, I wouldn't do it anymore because it's an endorsement and I'm not endorsing somebody. And at the end of the day, he's still making coins from people playing his stuff. Like I'm not endorsing his music, a rapist music anymore. It's just kind of like you're supporting them. Now, if it's on at the place that you're at, then you have no control over that. The second point that I want to touch on with R. Kelly is how I didn't like how some of the public made it like they started doing what they do best, making it like a black and white thing. Oh, if it was a white man, the white community supports their white men, but if it's a black man doing it, we don't protect them and stuff like that. And I'm just like, when it just comes to certain things, leave that out of it. Like the black or white does not matter in this scenario. They're both criminals and they both deserve to be in jail, and that's it. We don't need to protect no pedophile. Now, if we're talking about other situations that need protection, yes, but we don't need to protect somebody that went and, do you know how that sounds? Like they're touching kids. they're having sex with children and or raping children or raping adults. Either way, is forced and it's immoral and it's disgusting and it's in pedophilia. So we don't need to be speaking on whether or not somebody of a different race gets protected better for a sex offense. It's like, really, there's just some things where we just don't need to have that like say on that situation. Like, and that is my opinion, but I think, like, I just feel like a lot of people would agree that I just don't like when we're like talking about certain subjects and then they bring up race as a thing, and it's like, that's just taking your focus off the fact that this man committed a crime and he was wrong, and that was it. And if it was your child, we need to protect R. Kelly better because he's black, and you see how they're protecting. No, because you can see firsthand what's going on. But because it's not your child, you kind of looking at it like, oh, well, I mean, I like his music. Like, you know, and that's my take on that. But that was it. Yeah, that's pretty much it as far as the whole black and white situation.
Okay. And I get that. I totally get that. A lot of times they say, you know, or you know, had to protect him because of his skin color, and that's immoral. Definitely immoral. So I got two other people I want to discuss, and we're going to definitely jump back to Diddy. Harvey Weinstein and Vince McMahon. Whichever one you want to choose on that one.
I'll touch on Vince. He's pretty much like, I want to say he's trying to hide his hand, but it's a lot of allegations coming out about him, which caused him. Okay, Vince McMahon, for people who don't know, he's the former owner of WWE, formerly known as WWF. Mm-hmm. So he stepped down, I believe, last year because of some allegations that came out about him. He's been selling his stock ever since just to keep his money going. Yeah, the stuff he's been doing is kind of wild, like pretty similar to Diddy. Mm-hmm. Kind of using his power, his money to influence everybody, pretty much. I know one of the allegations that's against him, I forget her name, but she pretty much accused him of pretty much being his sex slave.
Wow.
I remember one instance he would promise like other people to have sex with her if they wanted a contract, if they wanted to sign, and it's more stuff. I'm not gonna go to like too much deep detail into it.
Mm-hmm. So did she work with the young lady? Did she work in the WWE as well?
Mm-hmm. She worked there for a period of time, and she also like she did it to keep her job. It's more people, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
And then as far as him, like the reason why I said with the R. Kelly thing, how I don't judge people being able to separate the art from the artist. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I stand when it comes to WWE events, because I still watch WWE.
Right.
So it's like, if I'm going to judge somebody for listening to R. Kelly, I got to stop watching wrestling.
Right.
Because a lot of the stuff that went on for a certain period of time came from his mind.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Sheesh. That's true too. Yeah. Do you have any take on either one of those, Vince McMahon or Harvey Weinstein?
So I don't watch WWE, and I like you know, you said that you can't say anything about somebody else doing, you know, one thing when you do the same thing just with a different, you know, like a different platform. And so I feel the same way when it comes to like the R. Kelly situation, because we know without a shadow of a doubt that he did commit some, if not all of those crimes. I can't sit there and listen to his music willingly, you know, under my own control. I can't, because obviously, like I said, if you're at the skating ring or you're somewhere out and about and that's what's playing, then you're not in control of the iPad or whatever. You can leave if you want to, but you don't have control over who's in charge playing that type of stuff. But same thing with wrestling. Well, first of all, it wouldn't be hard for me with wrestling anyway because I don't watch WWE, and it's not because of his situation. Because if I be honest, I really don't know too much about his situation. But if he is, you said what did he do? If he is a criminal,
it's a lot of like rape allegations.
Yeah. If he's a rapist, then of course, and like that will also be something where I would quote unquote what do? They blackball or when you basically cut something off when you find out something about it or you stop shopping. What's that called? Boycott. Yeah. So yeah, boom. So then yes, of course I would boycott something like that. But yeah, that will only and that will only, like I said, it will only be if I know it's based on what's been proven, not just accusations or what we think happened. But then I can also say this too. I have a hard time not believing an allegation when 1,000 people are saying that you did it. like are actually in there clearly, like they have a whole storyline. Because I know there are some situations where people, they kind of just make up stuff, or they kind of over exaggerate, like they exaggerate a scenario that happened. And you always know based on how a story is told and how many different ways it's told. But if I feel like if like in the R. Kelly situation, you got however many, like more than 6 girls from watching the documentary, it's like more than 6 girls that are telling their story. Their stories are very similar. You have a pure video of the girl on the internet at a young age and stuff. So you're already done for. I don't know why that didn't put him in jail, but well, actually, yes, I do, because in the film, one of the judges admitted that he didn't bring any charges against him because the girl looked like she was lying, but then they found out that he actually had took money from R. Kelly. So that was a judge. But the judge, when he got in front of the camera, he said she just looked like she was lying. I'm just like, wow. Okay. So yeah. And then there was another case where one of the young ladies she said she would come forward, but then she changed her mind, I think like the day or week of. Her family decided to change their answer about what happened, and then it was because he had paid them off. So, but that's R. Kelly, that's not him. And the only reason why I said all that is because, like I said, I don't really know too much about his situation. So I can only say hypothetically how I feel.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty similar. Like they both use their influence, their money, their power to kind of like keep control of the situation for as long as they did. So I guess since we're in the time of the truth coming out about everything, that's what's making the difference versus like 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's making other people confident to come out and speak against. Yeah.
I will say, not only is the person being accused guilty or the person being convicted guilty, it's also the people around him that were either helping or just not doing anything. I feel like they're also as guilty.
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Oh, people are weird. That's what I'm gonna say. People are weird. So I'm gonna bring us back, of course, to what we started off with P. Diddy. I know you said you had some more that you want to add to that.
Yeah, I will say, as far as Diddy, it goes beyond his sexual habits. He had a lot of, I guess, power struggles as well. That I heard a rumor once that him and Tupac used to be close when he was living, and the one thing that kind of like messed up their friendship was I don't know how true it is, but they said he tried to make a move on Tupac, and Tupac wasn't going for it. That's what possibly led to him getting shot the first time when he blamed Biggie for it. What started their whole beef. It kind of started with Diddy.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. bad. That's crazy. It was something I was thinking of. But man, I'm gonna let you respond with that because I can't think of what it was right now.
Or, like, respond to what he just said?
Well, anything else you have to say about Diddy? Or in response to what Devon said?
I pretty much said what I had to say. I will say this, in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to P. Diddy and R. Kelly and all, basically the women that got hurt in the process of this, because I do know that Cassie, she didn't bring charges against him, but she did try to tell people that she was being abused or that something was going on before the video came out. Like, she did. And people were like,
not press charges against Diddy?
It's more of a lawsuit than charges.
oh, that's right. It was a lawsuit. She did do a lawsuit. Okay, so boom. So she did a lawsuit. And when I'm thinking about now, of course, the internet does and doesn't hold weight. Okay, so this is what I mean. So the internet is a part of the media. The media wants to give the internet what they want. And unfortunately, in this day and time, it's about reputation more than it is about, for some people, it's more about reputation than it is about what actually is going to happen, the effects of what you're doing, how it's going to hurt other people and stuff. So with that being said, it's like people online are criticizing her, calling her names, making jokes, making memes, all this other stuff, calling her a liar. And what people don't understand who do that is like the individual, and I won't just say woman, I'll say individual, because it could happen to a man or a woman. The person experiencing someone beating them or raping them, being abused by someone, it's like, if it hasn't happened to you, then you wouldn't 100% understand. But a lot of people it actually has happened to, and they're also bullies of people who experience it. And it's just kind of like, by you saying comments, it could be you won't even know it, but it could be your comment that the person read. And when they read your comment, they said, okay, you know what? It's stuff like that. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm going to keep my mouth closed. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to drop it. I'm not going to see it through. It's like, it's really discouraging. And even though you're supposed to be strong and you're not supposed to like let things get to you, when it's like, you're talking about famous people, people who have like thousands, millions of followers. So, or and they're following thousands of people. So when they're reading their notifications or looking, just scamming through it or whatever, they're seeing these negative comments, and it's kind of like it's helping as far as things not being said, if that makes any sense. Like I'll just tell you, and I won't say any names, but there is a girl in college who was raped in college by a fraternity, and not by the whole fraternity. She was raped by somebody who was in a fraternity. And when she went to do something about it, instead of like something actually being done, it ended up turning into a conversation of, did it really happen, or what did she want it? And you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the other people who weren't involved in the rape, but they were his friends, they started to call the girl names, and they spread rumors about her and said, oh yeah, she's just a hoe and blah, blah, blah. So basically, during her college experience, something that had happened to her ended up turning against her. So when she tried to do something about it, like tried to have something done about it, instead of her being defended and protected, it ended up turning against her, and people just talked about her negatively. So that shut her up for the rest of the college experience, and it turned into a thing of, okay, I'm just gonna be strong and just not say anything, because if I do say something, then I'll just get talked about and called a hoe and called names, and it's messing up opportunities for me, because unfortunately there are professors at the school who are very close friends with, and since we're talking about power, money and power, it's like that's kind of like a example of power in college. You have the professors and admissions and different people on your side. So if you do say something, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm risking them playing with my grades or giving me a hard time in my classrooms. And it just messes up the whole experience. So when I'm thinking of all these individuals who went through these rapes and things like that, and then you guys question, not you guys, but like the public questions, well, why didn't they say anything, or why didn't they come forward when it was happening to them? They just think they might have been literally experiencing that. They might have been looking at the internet when, like, maybe thinking to themselves, maybe he will get caught, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then they see like people defending him, and they're just kind of like, because in the R. Kelly documentary, I saw people in front of the courthouse with whole they were out in the front protesting for him to not get arrested. So, you know, that against little old you that nobody knows, you're not famous or anything, you're just the person who it's happening to. It's like, when is the right time to say something? And then when you finally get comfortable with yourself and come out and be free and just live normal because you're not in bondage anymore, then you get criticized for being free and not in bondage. Well, I see you reaping the benefits of living with R. Kelly and stuff because you got money and stuff. It's like, just ask yourself, what would you do if you were in that situation? If somebody like was putting money in your bank account, are you gonna give the money back? Like, really be real. Are you gonna give the money back because they got arrested? Like, no, and stuff. But it doesn't make what happened to you right. It doesn't. But it's just kind of like you're not being realistic by judging the person that it happened to for not acting a certain way. I had somebody judge me for going back and living my normal life after I lost my friend. And it's like, am I supposed to stay in depression after I lose somebody? Like, am I supposed to stop taking care of my kids and be dreading and not go back to my normal schedule just because I lost somebody? Is that really the way of life? Like, I'm gonna stop talking though, because I feel like I'm talking a lot, and yeah, go ahead.
So you know what you were saying about how the situation with the college, how the young lady that was raped, that they didn't believe her. The same way with Cassie, they didn't believe what she was saying about Diddy. So just hypothetically speaking, as to why people think that, because you have people in power. You know, you have the guy with the fraternity who's supposed to be, if he's in the fraternity, he's supposed to be, you know, working with the community and so forth. He has his name in the community, in the college. And the same way with Diddy, he's this hip hop mogul. So people are like, okay, so there's no way in the world that person can do A, B, C. This person has to be lying because these people are so influential. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of the problem lies in, where people are not believed. They feel like they don't have a voice that could say anything because they're not going to believe me if I say anything. Mm-hmm. So that still kind of ties in with the other young man from Nickelodeon that, you know, he did what he felt like he could do to help them because nobody else had a voice or nobody else would have been believed.
No, you know? I don't agree that that's the same thing, because I don't know. There's nothing out, you know, because I'm only speaking on what we know happened. I'm not speaking on hypothetical. So if he did do something else, or something was actually, or we know that something actually was happening to him, then we could say, but I can't be lenient on someone that it wasn't happening to your grown man and it comes to children. And me on the other hand, it actually happened to my friend. So it's like, you know, her perspective is gonna be, it's her reputation that she's trying to protect after that happened to her. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I can't compare somebody that it didn't happen to somebody that it actually did happen, too. But I do agree with you for the people being in power, yeah, because the fraternity is an influential fraternity. A lot of people love them, and a lot of people even love their and every school may not be like this, but at the school that we attended, they were very provocative. Like they're like one of their things that they endorsed and used to promote themselves was being provocative and sexual, licking girls on the neck that they ain't never met before, picking them up, showing people, acting out, humping girls and all type of stuff. And the public, that's what that group of people at that school were attracted to. They like that stuff. And then at the same time, while they might have been influential, then you also have just people in general that actually like drama and they like to see the negative side of it. So even if they might know that there is a truth, or they might have heard what actually happened, they would rather go with the negative story because it's just juicier and they just like drama, or they might not like the individual that it happened to, so they're gonna say like, oh yeah, she probably is a hoe, because it sounds fun, it's better, and it helps them to be able to continue having a negative rhetoric about the person that it happened to, even if they might know that it actually isn't true. So yeah, that's pretty much my take on that.
Okay. Touche. Definitely. Yeah. And I know that people, their thought is the consequences if I do say something, or if I protect someone. And me on a personal level, I wish that people would speak up more to protect someone, especially if you know that something's going on, and you witnessed something that went on with someone that went on, and if you're speaking on it could save them. I feel like, take that leap of faith, take that chance. You may not lose what you think you're going to lose because you've spoken out. You might not be backballed because you've spoken out. You might start a trend, I guess not a trend, but start a domino effect of, because you spoke out, now other people feel more comfortable with saying, hey, that happened to me too. Or hey, that happened I know that happened to that person too. And, to make people feel more comfortable, because now I know that A, B, or C said it, I can now say something.
Yeah. And that's something that I'll definitely admit to. That the girl, somebody did try to help her press charges, and she didn't want to because she thought, and of course when it comes to pressing charges, you need the person that it happened to say what happened. Like, because you can't say, well, I was there and she told me that this happened. But then it's like, then the police are going to ask, well, what is your side of the story? You know what I'm saying? And if she's not willing to speak on her scenario because you technically weren't there when it happened, you know, and stuff. So that, I will say, that's another perspective and stuff. If a person did try to help that person, depending on where their mind is at, it's like, if you're trying to, when it comes to pressing charges, I'll say that when it comes to pressing charges, now other things could have been done. And honestly, the route she was going was the not police route. It was the handle it, get her homeboys to handle it route. But as far as like getting the cops involved, I will say that like that could have been, even with the guy Dan. Now they're children, so it's a little bit different. It's like when it comes to children, it's like just children. Like they're still being raised up, and like if something is happening to them, if you know and you're there, like you know that it's happening, then you know what I'm saying. But if you weren't there, like, you know what I'm saying, if the person wasn't there, they didn't see it happening, and they don't have other than your word, they don't have anything else, then that would make it harder for even somebody to support you if you don't want to speak up. If you're afraid to speak up. So
Understood. So we'll kind of wrap it up because actually these aren't topics that's on our list to talk about tonight, but there was something else I want to bring up. But if I bring it up, we're gonna be here all night and we have to go. So to wrap up, did you have anything else you want to say?
If they said it, he did it. As far as Diddy's concerned.
Yeah. Because there's way too many allegations out there for him to have not done it. Yeah.
Oh, there's a documentary about Diddy on Tubi. It's called The Downfall of Diddy. It kind of explains like different things he's done and like the whole thing when they raided his house. I think like his main supporter was Stevie J at that time.
That's all I have to say about Stevie J. Just that whole face. But anywho, yeah, Stevie J. Gosh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go watch that because now I'm a little, I guess not intrigued, but yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm gonna watch that now, so I get kind of more in depth as to, yeah, yeah, I definitely want to see that. Anything else you want to add?
The industry is just really corrupt, and I would just say I'm a musician. Definitely protect yourself, stand on your morals, and like I was saying at the beginning of this podcast, be willing to lose some stuff, because it's bound. If you're standing for the right thing, it's going to happen. Like there's going to be a point in time where your righteousness is going to get tested, and you have to be willing to take that L. Like it can't be it's just, there's just some things where you just can't say, okay, well, I got to protect myself in this scenario. No, think of all the other people that are going to be put at risk by you protecting just yourself. Like, only think of the people that are being put at risk, if they're actually being put at risk. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about like hypothetical. I'm talking about, and not just people that you're going to put at risk, but think of the influence that you're going to put out. Think of the legend you're going to be leaving. Like just consider all of those things and just make the right decision and speak up and protect these children. Protect the babies at all costs. Protect them. They are the future and they deserve to be taken care of. I'm not going to keep saying too much on it because it is late. This is a late podcast, a late night podcast.
Definitely agreed. So I want to end with saying, if you see something, say something. So don't just be like, I'm not going to get involved with that. See something, say something, because you don't know whose life that you will save in the long run. And also, I know we also spoke about boundaries earlier. So if anyone ever asks you if you have boundaries, say yes, please. Because once you say no, they have totally taken control.
You gotta stand on those boundaries too.
Definitely. Please, whatever you do, stand on your boundaries. Definitely.
Girls, when you're dating, I'm sorry, we're not going to prolong this, but girls, when you're dating, make sure that you say what you mean and you mean what you say. Like, in other words, when you say that you don't like a certain thing or you don't accept a certain type of, I've made it only about girls and guys. If you say that you expect a certain type of thing, make sure that move like that, act like that. Don't just say it just for good conversation so you can reel someone in. And then, because people are watching you and they're watching what you accept and watch what you do and what you truly stand for. And if you're saying that you're about one thing, but then when you get out and about and you're not like thinking about it, it's not like it's not like you're like it's not natural for you, then it's just kind of like, well, wait, are they lying? Did they just say all that just because, or is it, then you're giving them, if they're not a good person, you're giving them the opportunity to hurt you. If they are a good person, like me, then they're paying attention to that and they're saying, okay, I don't know if I want to deal with that person anymore because you know, they said they were about this thing, but I'm watching them right now. I'm watching them be loose and be themselves, and they're not carrying any of those personality or character traits that they claim they had over the phone. So, yeah.
To sum that all up.
That's another podcast. That's another podcast. Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries. So, again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is Shauna with Visually Speaking, also along with
Devon
and
Maddie J.
And you all have a good night. Bye.